welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoboriowo. All right, on the program today, we want to look at role of external auditors on integrity of corporate financial reporting. Role of external auditors on integrity of corporate financial reporting. And our guest this morning, of course, is Mr. ALABA ADEYEMI, ACIS, who is a former permanent secretary in the Ondo State Civil Service. Good morning, Mr. ADEYEMI.
Good morning, Funmi.
All right, thank you for joining us on Corporate Governance Platform this morning.
You're welcome.
I also have right here in the studio with me, Mr. Michael Umogun, who is Deputy Registrar Operations, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Umogun.
Good morning, Funmi. Good morning, listeners.
All right. And of course, before we move ahead this morning, let's take this message and we'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, of course, still Corporate Governance Platform right here. And like I said earlier, we'll be looking at role of external auditors on integrity of corporate financial reporting. Now, Mr. ADEYEMI, let's begin this way. Let's look at external auditors, who they are, their roles and functions.
Before we go ahead, my listeners, we need to really define who is an external auditor. And we cannot define that in a vacuum. An external auditor always acts in relation to a company. And going by the Company and Allied Matters Act of 2020, Section 401, every company must at each AGM appoint an auditor to audit the financial statement of the company. The Act further states in 374 that every company is required to keep accounting records in accordance to for the preparation of its financial statements, that is balance sheet and profit and loss account. Then from these two sections of the Act, we can now evolve or start outlining the functions and the role of external auditors. And I'll just quickly mention about two or three. The first one is that the auditor is meant to examine the books of account of a company to ascertain its compliance with the accounting policy of that company, to make a report to members on the account examined by him or by them on the financial statements at the general meeting during the auditor's tenure of office, and for public companies through the audit committee, and to carry out investigation in preparing their report as to enable the auditor forms an opinion. Then, lastly, to provide an independent opinion on the true and fair view of the financial statement of the company and give assurance to stakeholders on the reliability of the financial statements. In brief, I think these 4 points summarize the major functions and role of an external auditor in a company.
All right, great. Now let's look at the link between external audit function and risk management.
Having mentioned some of the functions of the external auditor earlier on, we'll have to look at risk management. And we can look at risk management as the totality of the risk policy, risk appetite, and risk limit of a company. And it articulates, implements, and reviews the company's audit to safeguard shareholders' investment and well-being of the company. By implication, the link between external audit and risk management strengthening the framework. It shows risk implication, if any, and help achieve strategic objectives of the company. Because the report of the auditor is an indicator, one of the few indicators, and you juxtapose that with the risk management policy of the company. It helps the company to come up with a position as to the risk situation concerning the company.
Let's look at how external auditors ensure the integrity of the financial statements.
Okay. We'll have to look at these two from the initial functions and responsibility of the auditor. And we have to go back to that section 374 of the Company and Allied Matters Act of 2020, which says that companies must keep accounting records of explain the transaction of the company. And having said that, when there is a financial statement, it needs revalidation. And the revalidation of that statement is done by the external auditor. So the external audit ensures the integrity of the financial statement through the following means: by ensuring that the financial statement of the company comply in form and content of accounting standards. Number two, the provision of independent opinion on the true and fair view of the financial statement by the external auditor. Three, through thorough examination of accounts of the company with a view of ascertaining its compliance with the accounting policy of the company and accounting standard rule. Four, power to carry out investigation in preparing the auditor's report. Then lastly, external auditors of any company shall make reports on the accounts examined, copies of which are to be laid before the company at a general meeting during the auditor's tenure of office. All these measures are put in place to really ensure the integrity of the financial statement that are usually prepared by the board of directors of a company, by the accounting department of that company. So it's after the auditing of the accounts that is now presented to the company at the AGM.
Okay. All right. You mentioned the true and fair view. I want you to expatiate on this, the true and fair view of financial statements, and then also look at its relevance.
We don't have to go too far when it comes to this view of a true and fair view of a financial statement, because the guiding principle of company practice and policies and in Nigeria is the Code of Good Corporate Governance of Nigeria, 2018. And Principle 20 of the Code, CCGN 2018, states to provide an independent opinion on the true and fair view of the financial statement of the company to give assurance to stakeholders on the reliability of the financial statement. And like I said earlier on, the financial statement is usually prepared by the board of directors. So to get a true and fair view of that statement for the use of the members at the AGM, to certify the statement and to authenticate its validity. So by implication, the true and fair view of financial statement in relation to corporate governance is that it institutionalizes corporate governance best practice and promote awareness on essential corporate values and ethical practice that will enhance the integrity of the business environment. It rebuilds, considering the fact that the corporate governance is a key driver of corporate accountability and business prosperity. But like I said earlier on, The meaning is to validate the financial statement or the accounting records prepared by the board of directors.
All right. Now, the code provides that the recommendation for the appointment auditors should be made by the committee responsible for audit to the board. Now, why is this provision important in the corporate in the governance context?
Well, we'll have to, looking at this, we'll have to go back to the role and the importance of external audit, or the role of external auditors. A business entity or a company. And going back to that principle 20 of the Code of Corporate Governance that stipulates that auditor will be appointed to provide independent opinion on true and fair view of the financial statement of the company, to give assurance to stakeholders. The implication is that the auditor is like a Caesar's wife that must be above board. It's based on the importance of their role. Is better positioned to perform the role of recommending the appointment, reappointment, and removal of the auditors. In that, number one, if you look at the principle 2, section 1142, which says that all members of the audit committee must have basic knowledge of financial literacy and be able to read financial statements. It goes further to say that at least a of accounting or financial management and be a member of a professional accountancy body in Nigeria established by the Act of National Assembly. In addition to that, the oversight function conferred on the audit committee also stipulates in section 11471 of the code that audit committees have oversight responsibility to assess the qualification, independence, and performance of the sections of the code. You will no less agree with me that the audit committee, by design or anything, is best suited and positioned to play that role assigned to it. That is in the recommendation. Now, if need be.
All right. Before I let you go, Mr. ADEYEMI, would you say the provisions of the are by and large adequate and they conform to best practices?
I can't hear you, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hello, Mr. ADEYEMI, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you go over the question again, please?
Okay, I said, would you say the provisions of the code in relation to external auditors are by and large adequate and conform to best?
Yes. For now, based on the present realities, I want to believe that the provisions of the code are adequate.
Okay.
Because the extant code, that is the Code of Corporate Governance 2018, as developed by the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, was based on international best practice, and it was and internationally. There are so many of them, but for lack of time, I may not be able to go through. But going through the codes too, there are some specific provisions that makes provision or that stipulates the responsibility and the role of the external auditors. Number one, giving assurance to stakeholders on reliability of financial statements. Number two, on the appointment, reappointment, and removal of auditors. Number four, provision of non-audit services. Number five, independence of auditors. And number six, how to sanction an auditor if there is an issue of fraud or unethical practice on the part of the auditor. And you know, the system is dynamic. I want to believe that as time moves on, as things unfold, there will be innovations and additions to the code. But for now, with all the provisions, I think what we have in the code, whatever may be the issues or challenges we are facing, especially concerning role of auditors in corporate governance.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. ALABA ADEYEMI, ACIS, former permanent secretary in the Ondo State Civil Service. Thank you for joining us on Corporate Governance Platform.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right, Mr. Umogo, do we have an announcement?
Yes, two quick ones for me. We'll be having our last training for the year tomorrow, 15 December 2020. 2022. The title of the training is Governance, Risk Management and Compliance. It will be starting by 10 a.m. and we hope it will be for about 3 hours. The fees for the program: members 20,000, non-members 25. If you have any queries or questions, you want to know more details about the program, please call Anita on 0701 113 0059. 0701 113 0059. The second training is from the education for the June 2023 diet has commenced. Kindly visit our website www.ixan.org for more information, or call our education manager, Mr. Inka Ogutoyinbo, on 0809 066 0169, or Ms. Temitope Onilede on 0809 066 2203. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Michael Umugu, Deputy Registrar Operations ICSAN. And that's our package this morning on Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. We'll return again next week, Wednesday, 10 on Eco 89.7 FM. I am Funmi Omoburiu. Enjoy the rest of the day.